And here's Rebecca Hunt's finished stone in Hill Cemetery. Certainly well worth $9.60. I think it must be another bespoke epitaph. Listen to the terrific, distinctive voice of the author here as he eulogizes her Christian virtues. You can read it here. Her virtues, societal, conjugal, parental, and Christian, commanded respect, rejoiced acquaintance, sweetened life, consoled in sickness, made a friend of death, and confirmed the hope of celestial glory. Now notice how the author states in no uncertain terms his intentions in carving this. This inscription perpetuates her memory and invites imitation. He's calling us to act in our own interest by imitating her virtues. And then comes the closing rhyme. Frail man, give ear. The dearest joys of earth resign. Secure those joys which are divine. The message is familiar, but it's memorably expressed. Listen up, you frail sinner. Turn away from the unsubstantial joys of earth, however dear they are to you, and concentrate on securing the joys to come. Now let's take a look at a couple of other Spalding stones here in the cemetery. This is the Samuel Kilby stone. He died April 17th, 1796 at the age of 73. I think on this stone, Spalding is actually showing off a little bit. Notice the two shoulders before the tympanum. That's quite unusual. Usually at most you'd see one shoulder. The epitaph is a short quatrain. God my Redeemer lives, and often from the skies looks down and watches all my dust, till he shall bid it rise. This is another passage from Isaac Watts. It's actually the last verse of the same hymn that was on the Lucy Porter stone, which is just 2 stones away. I suspect a family relationship. In this case, we don't need to know the whole hymn in order to get the positive, uplifting message that God, we are assured, is watching us and the resurrection is to come. Here's another example of a wonderful long eulogy that ends with a short passage from Scripture. Like the Rebecca Hunt stone, we're given a long list of Abigail Brown's virtues. In fact, let me read them aloud so you can hear the wonderful cadence of the language. She died, by the way, in 1794 at the age of 84. She excelled in the virtues of a good wife, parent, and neighbor, and more in those of a Christian. Being meek and lowly in heart, she was pious without affectation and charitable without ostentation. She had imbibed large of the Spirit of Christ, which rendered her very amiable, useful, and respectable, and assures us she hath entered into rest. Again, I love that sense of assurance of the rewards of a life well lived. The last line, reader, go thou and do likewise, is from the parable of the Good Samaritan in the Gospel according to Luke, where Christ instructs the lawyer who's been asking him questions to go forth and serve his neighbors. Here, whoever chose this epitaph has explicitly added us, the reader, into the scene. We are the ones being instructed by Christ to go forth and serve our neighbors. This is a perfect example of the didactic nature of these epitaphs. They were meant to be read seriously. We can end our little tour with the Thomas Hosmer stone. Thomas Hosmer died January 1787 at the age of 84, and he just has a one-line epitaph. Life, how short, eternity, how long. This is not unique to Spalding or Hosmer. You find it a lot in these old cemeteries. And while it may sound a little trite to our modern ears, I think it neatly summarizes one of the most important religious and philosophical realities of its time, one that was constantly weighing on the minds of every one of Ithamar Spalding's customers and every one of Thomas Hosmer's surviving family and neighbors.